Oh, excellent. Excellent. Bill?
Outstanding. It's ready for the game. Get that turf all ready.
Good morning. The County Commission meeting will please come to order this sort of soggy, rainy day. Our meeting of August the 19th, and we have Stan Bowling, Planning Director, doing the invocation with the pledge by Commissioner Gary Wheeler, please. Please stand.
Good morning. To give thanks for stormwater management, isn't it? Let's pray. Lord God, this morning we have a glimpse of your power and your majesty and your mercy. We give you thanks for all three. And we also admit, we're tempted to think this morning, hey, we can handle this. We don't really need you for this. But we need you all the time. And we know from your word and from our own life experiences that there are ahead of us, there are storms, there are possibilities, there are opportunities, there are your promises. And we give you thanks for those too in advance. We ask that you'd help prepare us to take hold of the promises. One of those is that you have prepared good works for us to do. Help us do those today and lay the groundwork for more good works in the future. We lift up to you our leaders this morning. We give you thanks for them. We ask that you give them your knowledge, and we ask that you give them your wisdom, and you help us carry out the decisions that are made, again, to do the good works you prepared for us to do. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Join me in the pledge to our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The flag? Our country, through the flag.
Thank you very much, Stan. Also this morning, let's start off with an update, please, on the weather from John King. Good morning, John. So we're glad to see you this morning, and if you'll give us a complete update.
I'll do that. This is an update for Tropical Storm Faye. This is not a hurricane. Tropical Storm Faye. And what you see now is what we're going to receive for the rest of the day. That's, in simplest terms, that's it. The strongest winds the county has received, the strongest gust, has been 38 miles an hour. Sustained winds have been under 30 miles an hour. But we encourage the residents to keep in mind that there is a possibility we could have a tornado watch when you have these types of conditions. The eye of this tropical storm is kind of moving to the west of Lake Okeechobee. It's moving that direction now. We can expect here to have kind of a wet and sloppy day the rest of the day. And if you go outside, you might get wet ankles today. So that's good news. Tomorrow the community will return as it was, business as usual, and it'll be a good day. Out at the EOC, County Administrator Joe Bear was at the EOC early with me this morning. We had a cup of coffee. Staff, the appropriate number of staff are out there. And we're much more concerned about the rain today than we are anything else at this point. We don't expect 10 inches of rain, but we're checking for any localized flooding, any type of stormwater retention that may be clogged. Staff's doing a good job. Staff has been out early this morning. You should be real proud of the city and county staff that work in this community. They're all out working hard today, doing a good job. And in closing, it was only a few weeks ago that many of us were praying for rain, and perhaps this is our answer. So it's not going to be a bad day today. Any questions?
Any questions?
We'll be at the EOC most of the day today, and we think hopefully by sunset tonight, most of this is going to be well beyond us. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
John, before you go, I know I was out there yesterday afternoon, and it looks like everything's working well. All the technology, the electronics, the systems, everything was looking pretty good. Is that still going?
Yes, it was. And I'm very, as you know, we just had a dedication a few months ago with the new EOC, and we're still bringing things online as we move forward, but the EOC is working very well. And I tell you, from myself and all the people that I work with, we thank the Commission for helping us get that new facility out there. It's a marked improvement over what we had before. And it's,
that stays in place.
The only correction I'd make is thank the taxpayers.
Yes. Well, the taxpayers took care of us, and we're doing our best today to help take care of the taxpayers. So thank you very much.
Just in a summary, schools are closed today. All of the county offices are open. We closed our beaches, our parks. But other than that, we're going to try and basically make it normal. The mass transit system, I understand, was closed down, just like the schools, because of the up to 40-mile-per-hour winds. But that, in summary, is what has happened. The courthouse is also open. CVS has got the courthouse and us closed, but we are open.
Did you give the employees an option that you had mentioned, I think, yesterday? Or
Yes, anyone who has children, they could. It's basically they could take a vacation day to day and not come to work.
that was appropriate with school closing down, giving them that option. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, John.
We have a little bit of old business that we want to take up just for a moment. We wish Jim Grancy, who is always here, and his happy 90th birthday last meeting, but I didn't see you in the audience because we did it late, and we want to say happy birthday again for your 90 years and your dedication.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Very much.
Our pleasure.
I'd just like to say that probably Mr. Granzy has been to more county commission meetings than the
all
five
of us
put together.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
Apologies.
Well, that's okay. You have some years on you to grow. Glad to have you this rainy morning, too. Anything that we need to delete or add? I have one item that I will be deleting, 14A, please. Any others?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to add a discussion item under My Matters 14D.
What is that?
Just an announcement. Won't require any action.
Oh, this is that contest between...
No contest.
It's no contest,
No
Madam
contest.
Chair.
There's a clear winner.
Oh, winner take all.
Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll
But
pick
it
that
doesn't
item.
involve a charity.
You're not going to ask if this is an emergency before you allow it?
Oh, I think that these two fellas, always consider this as
An emergency.
beyond emergency.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Just wanted to see you be consistent.
Yes, it is very consistent. It is a double emergency.
It is a double emergency.
And I'm game for it. Okay, that's under your matters?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. moving on.
Move to accept the agenda as amended.
As second. Madam Chair?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Approval of minutes, special call meeting, the source, April the 24th.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We have one item of information, consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull anything from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull item J.
All right, any others? I'll have a motion then.
Move to approve the consent agenda as amended, Madam Chair. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. J, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. This is miscellaneous budget amendments, and the second change on here, it's allocating some funds to the Rockridge community to complete, I hope to complete the project we started back after 2004. Jason, I know Thursday, I think the 22nd, or Friday, on the 22nd, we're having the startup ceremony for the new pump system, and with this allocation to finish off the swales and the drainage, that'll get Rockridge up and prepared to handle storms like today. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great.
This is for the drainage improvements in addition to the sewer improvements that were done.
Right. Well, I'm glad to see we got this done kind of just in time here. So with that, I move approval item J.
Madam Chair, I'll second that, and just some discussion. That has been just a phenomenal project over there. It's been 4 years ago, a long time in the coming, but from the homeowners association, their efforts with the contractor that we've had in place over there, I've heard nothing but good.
Thank you. This is my district, and I have done this single-handedly almost.
Absolutely.
I want to take credit for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, and we'll all be there, I hope, Friday.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously, and we'll all be attending the Friday event. All right. Public items, public hearing, Point West of Vero Beach, request to modify the approved plan development PD conceptual plan for Point West, memorandum dated August the 8th, 2008, legislative. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Stan Bowling, County Planning Director. This particular request is in reference to the Point West project. Point West is a PD or plan development covering over 600 acres, or just under 600 acres. And as you all know, a plan development sets the parameters and rules that are specific to this project. And what's before you all are some changes to the conceptual plan that do change some of the parameters or allowances of the project. And as such, it's gone through the public hearing process. It's gone to the Planning and Zoning Commission at a public hearing. They've made their recommendation. That recommendation was a 5-2 vote to recommend that you all approve the requested changes with the conditions outlined in staff's report. I'll go into that in just a few moments. And you all now at this public hearing are to take final action on the requests. Point West was approved in 1999, and like a lot of other larger PD projects, there have been a couple of times they've come back to you all for some changes to the conceptual plan. That's happened with Grand Harbor and Windsor and other PDs. They came back in 2003 and got some changes, and then recently in January of this year. The project is a mixed-use, traditional neighborhood design development, so it has residential as well as commercial and office uses, elementary school, and some other recreational uses. This is a zoning map showing the location of Point West. Like I said, it's almost 600 acres in size. State Road 60 is up here toward the top of this graphic. The main road that's built, Point West Drive, comes down from State Road 60. And actually, the development goes south of 16th Street, and even parts of it are south of 12th Street with the Polo Grounds, and then the East Village is over here on the east side of 74th Avenue. This aerial shows a little better picture that the development is partially developed. Actually, a little bit over 60% of the residential units are already developed in Point West. And you can see again up here, State Road 60 toward the top, Point West Drive coming down here. We have the lakes at Point West, a senior adult community here, kind of in the northwest corner of the overall site. We have the town center area here, just north of 16th Street, Point West Drive. We have the kind of a community green area here right now. That's the site of a future elementary school. And then we have residential project portions of the project, Central Village, South Village, and then East Village over here, east of 74th Avenue. The proposed modifications are to make some changes to allow a little more commercial or office up by the State Road 60 commercial area, to put in some security gates at two entrances, two portions of the project, Lakes at Point West, which is that senior adult community, and East Village. And then a third change to allow some flexibility of the commercial and office development, kind of the ability to shift back and forth a bit between town center and the State Road 60 commercial area. And the areas affected by these proposed modifications, first of all, the State Road 60 area up here by State Road 60 on both sides of Point West Drive. Most of this, there's an existing condition, and it's actually restated in staff's recommendation, that limits the retail up here to 10,500 square feet. Most of this development will be office, medical office, professional office. And that can be done, and it's restricted that way because this is a PD project. There's also town center commercial area down here near 16th Street. And then the two parts of the project where gates are proposed is the senior community Lakes at Point West over here, 2 gate locations, a street entrance at 16th, and then one internal to the project. And then also over here, east of 74th Avenue, 2 entrances for the East Village. And basically there aren't any homes here yet, but there is the golf course that goes around the perimeter of it, and gates are proposed there. A couple of things to point out. One is that this request still allows a sufficient amount of development, commercial development in town center to go forward with the concepts that have been approved with this project all along, but also to allow a little bit more of the State Road 60 to go forward a little bit earlier. And basically that's a response to market conditions, and the applicant can kind of go into that. The other issue is this. With this project, originally none of the roads were to be gated, open to the public. Even though they're privately owned and maintained, they're open to the public. And staff initially had concerns about gating any portions of this project. However, when looking at this particular request, the portions that are to be gated are at the perimeters of the project. They're not part of the kind of the core area and won't affect, in staff's opinion, the connectivity of this project, because again, they're at the ends of the project. Nobody needs to be driving through this, one part of the project through these areas to get into the activity areas, to get to town center or the commercial or some of the recreation areas and parks within the project. Also, and this is stated in one of our conditions, that these gates are really just for vehicles. There's still pedestrian paths and such that will be unrestricted with this modified change. Staff recommends that the board approve this conceptual plan with the conditions that are in staff's report. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-2 to recommend that you all approve this as well. And 4 conditions that are at the end of staff's report. One is a restatement of an existing condition, and that limits the State Road 60 commercial area to mostly medical and professional office. The second deals with allowing a little more of the State Road 60 office development to go forward before town center development is up and CO'd. A third condition involves a flexibility or 15% shift from either town center up to State Road 60 or State Road 60 down to town center. And then the other is allowing gates at the Lakes at Point West and the East Village, but keeping pedestrian access unrestricted in those areas. That's staff's recommendation. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you all might have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff at this point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I worked with the applicant and staff on this, and I think it's good that we allow a little flexibility. A lot of these PDs, when they first come in, maybe 20 years down the road before they get done, so I think we need to have a little flexibility. I did receive a call from a resident, had 2 concerns. One was if this had been properly noticed. Now, Bob said we went through our normal procedures and we notified everybody we're supposed to. And then talking to the applicant, they met with all the different homeowner associations, the presidents and boards of the individual villages, and so the word was spread out. So I think the word was properly spread. And then the other concern was gating part of the community and not all of it. And I think allowing the pedestrian access alleviates some of that concern that they can still walk or ride bikes and get in there. So I think that alleviated the concerns that I had heard on this.
Thank you. At this point, I'll open it to the public. The public hearing is open. Anyone from the public wish to speak to this issue? Come forward. Seeing none, I close the public hearing. I'll take a motion.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second, Madam Chair.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Public discussion items, there are none. public notice items. There are two. Quail Ridge, Inc., request to amend the text of the transportation element of the comprehensive plan to remove segments of 61st Street between 74th Avenue and 90th Avenue, to remove segments of 65th Street between 74th Avenue and I-95 from the county's extended roadway grid map, figure 4.10, legislative. And that will be September the 9th. And also, we will have Indian River County request for an abandonment of a portion of 130th Street, Gibson Street right-of-way, and an unnamed right-of-way in Roseland. That's also legislative, and that will be September the 9th. We have departmental matters, general services, transfer of lease and concession agreement with Can Inc., Cannon's County Cafe, memorandum dated August the 12th, 2008. Staff wants to speak to this. Morning.
Good morning. Obviously, we've received a request from the Cannons. They operate the County Cafe under the name of Cap Can Incorporated. And actually, they've been in there approximately a year, and Mrs. Cannon had approached me and said that she had someone that had some interest that had worked with them for a long time, and they'd like to transfer the operation of the cafe. We've looked at the request. It seems to be reasonable. One thing I would point out for those that aren't really familiar, it's not a large money opportunity to operate the cafe. I mean, it's really a service that we provide. And what this basically involves is just an assumption from one person to another on the operation of the cafe. That we've got a copy of the existing menu. You can see it's almost identical to the existing one and everything. So we recommend that the approval be granted to the assumption, subject obviously to the annual increase, which is based on a 3% increase or CPI index, whichever is greater, plus keeping the operation of the current cafe until such time as all appropriate license transfers are accomplished.
I move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, if I could,
Okay.
just real quick, I think it's pretty clear that I have a relative involved in this, and I would love to abstain from this vote if I could. However, Mr. DeBraw, if you could clear the air and explain why I must vote in this.
No, as far as it being a relative, you are okay to abstain. So if you declare now and not vote, you'll be just fine. You just have to file the paperwork.
May I speak 1 minute, Jim?
Wait. I was under the impression that an and is not considered a relative and I must vote. Now, if I can abstain, I'd love to.
Excuse me, Mr. DeBrawl, I had looked into this. I didn't have an opportunity to get with you. The law is that you must vote unless you have a conflict. An aunt is not considered a relative under the statute. Moreover, I questioned Mr. Davis, and he does not have any business relationship with his aunt. I wanted to draw to everyone's attention on page 216 of the agenda. It is clear that Ms. Nobles filled out the required disclosure of relationship form. There's no prohibition in the ordinance. This is just an informational matter. There's no special relationship.
And isn't there a rule or a statute of some kind that says that if I'm here, I have to vote?
Yes, you have to vote. There are two different statutes, and they're often conflicting. You do have to vote because there is no conflict.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
And I see someone from the audience that would like to speak. I'd be happy to recognize both ladies. If you'll come to the podium, name and address for the record, please. Morning.
I'm Pat Cannon, and I'm owner of the Cannon's Cafe. And I just want to get it on record straight that Wesley Davis had nothing to do with this cafe transfer. Betty and I talked 3 weeks ago at the airport, and it has happened so fast, I can't even believe it. And then when I read the paper this morning, I thought, this can't be happening, and I do not want his name involved at the Press Journal saying about Wesley Davis. And
that guy in the yellow tie right there behind you?
That Bob Grimm with the hat on.
He's right.
And I'm saying right now that I do not want Wesley Davis' name smeared in the Press Journal because of this cafe. And if that be the case, I will call off the deal. Because I have known this guy since he was this high, and he's the greatest.
Thank you.
Yes. And on behalf, I'm Judy Hunt, and this is my nephew, and I'm proud of it. And what I want to say is, I went to the doctor this morning before I came here, and he allowed me to go. As upset as I was over this, Pat was ready to call it off, and given her 30-day resignation. And Pat and I have been partners at Beachside Restaurant. Betty has always wanted her own place, and I appreciate the opportunity for my sister to have her own place. But in turn, I said our families can stand up strong to whatever the press journal says about Wesley, because I think people know him in his heart to be a God-fearing man. I love you, Wesley. I have to go.
We all love you, Wesley.
Well, I thank you very much for coming and setting the record straight.
How about you, Tom?
Well, I love you, Wesley.
Oh my God, this is a love fest for Wesley.
I just want to know how many meals Wesley's had at these restaurants.
I've never seen him. I guess what the confusion in the paper was, and they don't always comprehend things. It was a business transaction between two people. What we have is that we had a lease with Canon, and it was a business transaction with Canons and another person to take over their entity. That's what it was, and all we're doing is changing the lease over to the other entity that bought the equipment. That's simple.
Right, it's a business deal.
And Tom, are we just extending the original it's just the original 5-year term on the lease?
Right.
So they're just picking that up?
Right, that's correct.
We're about a year into it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, where are we? Do we have a motion?
And a second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
I don't know, anybody else want to praise Wesley?
Or do you want to, Gary?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
I misunderstood.
You're backing out of it? No. All those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you very much. Our next item is County Attorney's Matters, Value Adjustment Board, Citizen Appointee.
Madam Chair, we have 12C2.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm moving too fast. FP&L Emergency Services Master Agreement Approval, memorandum dated August the 14th. Tom?
Back on June the 3rd, we brought forth the recommendation of the selection committee for the performance contracting RFQ that we had put out on the street, and FP&L was the firm that we brought forth. The board authorized, selected, or agreed with the selection committee and authorized us to negotiate a contract. In the package, you'll find a copy of the master agreement. In essence, what that does is, once executed, would allow Florida Power and Light and staff to get together, look at those projects that seem to have some significant potential for savings. They would then prepare an appropriate feasibility study authorization, and once approved, they would go forth, and then we'd look at that, the outcome of that, and at the point in time, if that looked like it was a project we'd want to proceed with, we'd bring that back to the board as a project to get authorized. So what we're recommending is that the board approve the master agreement, have the chairman execute the agreement, and authorize the county administrator to execute the feasibility authorization forms up to the $50,000 authorization that the board has given.
Any questions? I'll have a motion.
Move staff recommendation.
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Thank you very much. Good to see you this morning. Now, on to Attorney's Matters, Value Adjustment Board, Citizen Appointee.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Due to the recent legislative changes to the Value Adjustment Board, the legislature has gone ahead and required an appointment of a citizen member of Indian River County who owns and lives in homesteaded property here. This position was advertised on the clerk's website, the county's website, and we've had 2 applicants. The commission today has to pick one of the 2 applicants to serve on the Value Adjustment Board.
Any questions? Okay, I'll accept the motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. Dwayne Wise for the Value Adjustment Board position.
Madam Chair, I'll second that, but I'd like just for quick discussion.
Okay.
Do we need, or would it be prudent to have an alternate since we have 2 qualified applicants? And I know that there is a certain requirements for a quorum to be able to move forward in the value adjustment process.
There's no provision for an alternate in the statute, so the answer would be no.
Okay.
I don't think you'd have the pleasure of doing that.
Okay. All right. I'll second that, Madam Chair.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0, and you'll be notified. Thank you very much. And I think we have a competition game, a black and red, red and black, and a blue and white.
Sure.
Blue and white. If you can explain that, please.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. This is
Fellas.
this is time we talk smack.
This happens once a year?
You know what? There's a certain time of the year. Some people might call it hurricane season, but I prefer to call it football season. And it always starts off early in the year. And as you know, I had the opportunity to eat a humble pie that was rather large last year and served out appropriately by Commissioner O'Brien. But I would just like to say that this year, Commissioner, I'll just let you know it's not that bad if you got to eat it this year. So, with that, I will give him some time to talk a little bit of smack, and I would always like the opportunity to smack back, you know.
Oh, you got it. Smack, smack.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Just to remind everyone, last year at this time was a glorious night when the Vero Beach High School Fighting Indians defeated the Sebastian River Sharks, despite Commissioner Davis's rain dance to try to end the game prematurely.
Shenanigans.
It was. I just want to say, though, I know the Vero Beach kids have been working hard all summer, and I'm sure the Sebastian River kids have been working just as hard. This is a great opportunity for our community. The game is going to be Friday night, the 29th of August at 7:30 at the Sebastian Stadium. I think tickets are still available at both schools. And also, some of the money goes to benefit the Dollars for Scholars. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity to come out and support these student athletes. They have been busting their rear ends all summer long, and I'd like to see the entire community come out there. Make sure you wear your black and red, though, and cheer the Indians on to victory. And it'll be a great evening for the whole community. So come on out to the game and see these kids play hard.
No, I thank you, Commissioner, for offering me the opportunity to wear the hat. I just want to say that it comes from the heart. Yeah. You can't hide that Shark pride, and you're going to see the difference at that game, despite any inclement weather or anything that can be confronted by these young individuals who have worked so hard.
And well, now, I want to weigh in here to it just a little bit now. You know, as long as we're all going to take a piece of this. I'm past mother of a captain of the cheerleaders of the red and black and red. Yay! And I think that is an outstanding, color scheme, and have at it. Wesley, you're a former, graduate of the high school.
Just had my 20-year, just had my 20-year reunion. Was senior class president of Vero Beach High School in 1988, and and it's a fabulous institution. It really is. And to back off the smack a little bit and talk about the individuals involved, not just at the athletic level, but also at the band level, which is still both bands are contact sports. It seems like they've worked very hard. We'll have the opportunity to see the pride of the Treasure Coast, which is Vero Beach High Schools, and the Marching Sharks. And that's quite a treat also at halftime, but just like Commissioner O'Brien said, it all goes to a good cause for the Dollars for Scholars, and it's something that'll be at Sebastian River High School this year. It was at Vero Beach High School last year, and it'll alternate back and forth, and I'm proud to be a part of the community to be able to have this good, clean fun, and all goes to an excellent cause.
Yep. And a part of the team, you'll be out on the field, won't you?
Well, absolutely, yes. Either that or concessions. We've got volunteer hours we've got to work. You know how it is being a band parent, so.
Well, great. Anything else? Prediction of scores or no?
No, man. We'll take it easy on Sebastian this year.
Yeah, there you go.
I will say this, that Commissioner Davis, you did promise that we would see a wonderful experience as far as the music. We will. That halftime show is phenomenal.
Yeah. On both sides.
And both sides, and we'll see a great game, no matter what the outcome is. I will say that I'm the parent of two Sharks, and one is a Marching Shark, and I'm very proud of that. And I know that you're the parent of a Marching Shark as well.
Yep.
And you're just in it for the game now.
I have a son on the football team.
What
position?
What position does he play?
He is the center for the powerful line of the.
You know what? God bless him. That's what I was in high school. Absolutely. I did that in the offensive line. I could tell by the sparkle in his eye, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't need one, but they...
Oh, no, we should have stopped when we were ahead.
But just a quick reminder, that's Friday, August 29th at Sebastian High School at 7:30. Friday, the 29th. Tickets are still available at both high schools. Come on out and support these kids.
Yeah, we'll all be there.
They're here.
I feel left out because
Well, that's a position also. White out, left out. Congratulations.
Left out?
my grandson was a marching and concert band member also back a long time ago, and I was chairman for 3 years of the program sales, which was wonderful in the halftime show. But I'll tell you what, the bands at both the high schools are probably some of the best in the country, let alone the state.
Absolutely.
I thought you played position. I think the Press Journal had you as a nose tackle.
Oh, the editorial.
And I don't even know what a nose tackle is. But
Oh, that's that other game.
Again, you want to take into consideration the scores.
Okay, well, this has been fun and enjoyable, and we look forward to the game and the competition.
Absolutely.
This is
And a great season for both schools.
we'll all be there?
Yes, we'll all be there, and this speaks well for our community, that we all show up for our children. Okay, moving on, I think we have one more item. Solid Waste Disposal District, adopt an amendment to the SWDD rate resolution legislative. May I have a motion?
I think that's just a notice, isn't it, Madam Chair? Notice of scheduled public hearing?
Do we have any action required?
Okay.
I don't
No
believe so.
action required, okay. 2008 petition hearing, Solid Waste Disposal District assessment fees. Any action required?
I'd move staff recommendation on that one.
A second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, perhaps if we need to, under the notices like that, that would be a good informational agenda item.
Right, that should go under information.
Yeah.
Because this is under the action. Okay, well, we wish everybody a safe, rainy day, and hope you have a good time today. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.